Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today with a quick update video here with respect to Blue Marvel and his event. Now that it has been fully extended, I was quite curious now what is going to be possible free to play, especially if you guys are in a similar position to myself where perhaps you've already unlocked Xavier, you're essentially just hoarding resources similar to myself, and we're in that holding pattern because we're in a really fortunate opportunity where, you know, things like sigils being capitalized here. We can actually save it for the future possibility of ISO Purple 4 and 5 being added, and then we can unload those resources to get a head start on Blue Marvel's event as well. But first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to talk about what my game plan is going to be and what is going to be likely possible free to play. Again, if you are in a similar position to myself, especially for those of you that have already completed Professor Xavier. If you haven't completed Professor Xavier, I do not recommend this advice for anyone just because he's just more of a game-changing character and still hands down the best character in the game that you should be prioritizing. This is really more so for the folks that need the carrot to chase, and especially for myself, where if there isn't an opportunity to get more red stars of Xavier, I mean, this is basically the next meta character to add into my arsenal, especially given that Marvel Strike Force is a resource management and character collecting game. So let's talk about this real quickly because the context is very important. For those of you that don't know, this is where Blue Marvel's red stars are currently housed, right? You can see it's actually in the command center, and they have in fact updated this now to 56 days, which is basically the end of the year. So in the next 56 days here, we have an opportunity to maximize as much red stars as we can for Blue Marvel. You're going to be seeing here under the objectives, essentially the way to get his red stars is completing nodes in his direct event. And obviously that's situated in the Dark Dimension preview that we've already shown before. So depending on the nodes that you do, that's what's going to translate to the red star possibilities. Now, you'll see here later on when we go through the actual nodes, I do strongly believe that a 4 red or heck, maybe even a 5 red is possible for free to play. And it really just depends on how you're going to be managing the events for the next month and a half to 2 months here. Because quite simply, it is going to be honestly doing well in these leaderboard events, and we know that they're situated every single week, right? You know, I think it's close to, like, I just rounded up, it's close to like 1 million ions in total to actually bring up your character to purple ISO at 5. So that's a good way to kind of gauge how you're going to be attacking this. And then we do now have the King of the Zone event in preview state, so this will be a good way to just showcase for you what I'm referring to. For the next month and a half here, you know, if you are able to land, I would say typically anywhere in this top 5,000 range, top 5,000, 6,000 range for the next month and a half, I think we're in a very good position to get ourselves and unlock obviously the 4 or 5 red here, depending on how well you manage the resources along the way, of course, right? Now, even better is that if you're able to, you know, elevate yourself in this top 2,500, top 3,000 mark, that's even better in terms of the exponential gains that you'll get. For example, you know, top 2,500 is going to give you 2 million of the ISO 5. And as you can see there, I already have close to 4 million because we did really well on the last Curse of Eternity event. But the reason why 2 million is important is because that's double what you would typically get in the top 5,000 to 6,000. So you're doubling the risk to reward here by doing better in this event, and that could cut your time in half. Instead of upgrading 1 character, you can then upgrade 2 characters. And why is that important? Well, the number of characters that allow you to progress through the event is ultimately going to translate to what you're going to be getting from a red star perspective, right? So we head over to the Dark Dimension preview now and go into the actual nodes. Remember, and I did a video on this yesterday too, guys, that there's 5 characters that you can use to actually get through the first 5 nodes of this Blue Marvel event. Those 5 characters are the 3-piece of Fantastic Four, it's Quasar, and last but not least, you would round that team off with Blastar. And the reason why that's so important is because those 5 characters can get through all the nodes here. You may not one-shot all of them, but they'll get you through. And why it's important is because those 5 nodes completed, if you're able to do just 5 characters, 5 of those nodes being utilized to the utmost, you're actually already going to secure right here, as you can see. This is the Blue Marvel icons they'll give you, right? So that's already, let's see here, that's 1 red, that's 2 red. That's 2 red stars right there for the first 4 nodes completed. After the first 4 nodes are completed, then you have to start taking a look at, you know, the ISO 5, right? Because of the fact that beyond that, now you're going to be needing another set of 5 characters. So as at this point right here, you need roughly 5 million ISO 4 and ISO 5 to get 5 characters up. That makes sense, right? So now we're talking about what it's going to look like after those 5 characters, because remember, the next 2 nodes are going to require a completely different set of team in the Insidious 6. So for node 6, you can see there's going to be the 3 red right there, and as well the 4 red right there. But as at this point, then this is where likely folks are going to get capped off, right? Because at this point you would need roughly 10 million of the ISO 5 in total, because that's 2 teams. And then if you can do anything else beyond that, it's going to be the next 5 characters, obviously, likely being Brimstone and Old Man Logan. And if you are able to access that within the final stretcher, the final period, I mean, that basically can secure you all the way up to a 5 red right here on mission 8, and then a 6 red here for mission 9. So you're basically in the home stretch at that point, right? So that's why I said earlier, guys, I think it's definitely feasible. I mean, even like I showed you earlier, I'm already close to a full team being able to start here, and I don't spend any money in the game. I don't buy any battle passes and whatnot. I just try to thrive on the leaderboard events like the Curse of Eternity that we had, and then they also had free-to-play available Purple 4 and Purple 5 Ions to build up to this event here, right? So that's why it's very important, guys. How we do in these events for the next month and a half here is going to dictate how many characters and teams that you'll need, because in total, you'll need roughly 15 million in total for the ISO 5 to bring up 3 teams of 5, being total of 15 characters. And we're not that far off, guys. We're not, like I said, we are very close to 1 full set of teams here. And that's going to allow us to already have the 2 red. So I think, honestly, a 4-5 red is very possible. But again, it is going to be ultimately dependent on, how you do in these leaderboard events. And if you think about it, they typically release 1 leaderboard event almost every week. So at this point now, we have, I would say 7 to 8 weeks, maybe close to 9 weeks before the end of the year. So even if you are landing in the top 5, top 6,000, assuming the points translate to what we just saw, that's going to be a bare minimum of 8 to 9 million right there if you're able to land in that top 6K mark that I just showed. So that's what I was saying earlier. I think this is a very reasonable event overall. And again, it's not for those that haven't unlocked Professor Xavier, but for those that are in a similar position to myself, where you're just positioned well, especially since you don't need to chase Professor Xavier anymore. It's meant to allow us that opportunity, and it is free to play, which is great to see. But anyways, I will keep you guys up to date as we build up more teams and synergies, and obviously once I get through the actual nodes themselves, I'll release that gameplay as well. Do let me know down in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan of this? And again, like I said, I strongly would encourage unlocking the other mythic characters before Blue Marvel, because he is more of a supplementary character that's going to be added onto the meta, as opposed to being that meta changer like Professor Xavier and Odin and similarly before. There you guys have it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.